Alright, hi, my name is Cynthia, and I'm asking you guys questions, and I know you guys have been asked so many, so I'm asking you guys anyways. How many of you ladies love makeup? And how many of you guys love the cologne that you guys are wearing right now?
Not the what?
Cologne?
They ain't wearing any, I don't smell it.
Would you guys stop using them if they were only 75% accurate and being safe? Or if they were tested on a whole different species that wasn't close to being human? Which leads to my topic about animal experimentation. My main claim is that animal experimentation is unnecessary. My first secondary claim to support this is that animal experimentation is inaccurate. Humans are completely different from animals, and humans have a different body structure, immune system, and which is why humans are called humans and animals are called animals. And one experiment done by many doctors such as Jacob D. McDonald, Matthew J. Campen, and much more have explained environmental health perspectives that the composition of diesel engine exhaust, which is DEE, varies by engine type and condition, fuel engine operation, exhaust after a treatment such as particle traps. DEE has been shown to increase inflammation, susceptibility to infection and cardiovascular responses in experimentally exposed rodents and humans. This explains that only humans and rodents were affected by diesel engine exhaust, and no other animal was experimented on to show more proof that other animals were tested on as well. And another journal, Joseph van der Stee and SSRB and many others, all explain that recently a debate has emerged on the use and necessity of standardization and experimental testing using animal subjects, and also says that false negatives can be counterproductive and even dangerous, and that experiments based on standardization may provide more useful information. So this explains that many scientists have used generalization to some experiments than using standardization, and standardization is more accurate because they observe everything a lot more clearer and don't base their conclusion on one animal and use that result to every other animal and take the same test and then yeah. For my next secondary claim, research can be accomplished with alternative means. First, the product would be more accurately safe if it were being tested on humans than being tested on animals. So self-experimentation would be an alternative. According to author Alan Weiss from the Texas Heart Institute Journal, he says that from the available literature that I identified and analyzed 465 documented instances of this practice performed over the course of the past 2 centuries, and that the number of the investigators enjoyed successful careers, including the receipt of Nobel Prizes. Although self-experimentation by physicians and other biological scientists appears to be in decline, the courage of those involved and the benefits to society cannot be denied. This explains that through self-experimentation, we are able to get these tests done accurately, since the physicians and scientists doing these experiments are being awarded Nobel Prizes for the breakthroughs and experiments. Also, there's another alternative that we can use zebrafish to replace animal experimentation. According to reproductive toxicology, it says that according to the new EU directive on the protection of animals used for scientific purpose, the earliest life stages of animals are not defined as protected and therefore do not fall into the regulatory frameworks dealing with animal experimentation. And in this article it says that based on their analysis and by including criteria such as yolk consumption, feeding, and swimming behavior, we conclude that zebrafish larvae can indeed be regarded as independently feeding from 120 age after fertilization. Experimentations with zebrafish should thus be subject to regulations for animal experiments from 120 age after fertilization onwards. In this quote, this means that many animals in their early stages are not to be compared to a human. And with experiments done with zebrafish, they have been seen to be more accurate than tests being done on animals. And another article of Drug Discovery and Development explains that they are looking for animal alternatives to drug experimentations, and that testing drugs on animals has been inaccurate, inconvenient, and inexpensive. And it also states that there are emerging fields such as stem cell science and nanotechnology as animal alternatives, offering reduction to the need for animals in experimentation. So animal experimentation is unnecessary because it is not always accurate, and there are other alternatives that we can use to better our safety when buying products. Thank you.
Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Thank you. All right, the survey gets to be a little bit confusing, and it's full of kind of leading questions. I think that's a little problematic. Your proposition is clearly labeled, however. You don't really have a preview of what the supporting structures are going to be. You dive right in. Pardon me. You dive right in with your first point. The supporting points are structured and labeled. I think you need a smoother transition between the two main points. It basically seems to be quite abrupt. Your second point seems relevant, but there's a lot of information in it that is presented that is not explained very clearly. I don't think you're giving us enough of a context to understand how these alternatives work, how they could substitute for the use of animals or humans in doing research, and that seems a little problematic. In fact, one of them isn't even a substitute for humans in research. It basically says, research yourself, you damn Nobel Prize winners. So jam yourself with radioactive material or whatever it happens to be. And I think that that's an interesting approach. I'm not sure that it's makes a lot of sense, but I understand what you're saying there. I didn't understand the whole point about the diesel energy exhaust. You went through this whole thing, and then you said only humans and rodents are affected by it. I'm going, okay, so rodents aren't animals, and we shouldn't be researching on them. You just showed that they are, in fact, animals that are affected by this very thing. So that seemed like it didn't really fit your experience very well. On the presentation, you are reading and you are rushing at the same time, and sometimes you don't clearly express the words, which I think somebody had that problem with when they were trying to figure out, what was that word, cologne, that we missed at the beginning? I don't know how many of you don't like your cologne. So you're just kind of rushing through things, and you need to be a little bit more careful when delivering the message. All right, I'm going to stop.